Hello guys and welcome to the channel. In the previous video, we talked about how to create a static website using S3 buckets on AWS. But in this video, we'll talk about something slightly different. We'll talk about a scenario where we have an S3 bucket and we have another one, and these have contents. These have HTML contents, websites, and we wish to cause or make one content interact with another content by retrieving data from that content. In this case, we use something known as CORS. Now, let me explain. CORS stands for Cross-Origin Resource Sharing. And this is simply when you want the content of a domain to interact with the content of another domain. That's what this simply means. So let's say we have a single website. If this is a single website right here, and this has various contents. Now, in this domain, every content here can be accessed without permission because this is a single website here in our S3 bucket. But it becomes slightly challenging when we are dealing with multiple websites here, because what happens is for this website or domain to be able to interact with this one, it needs this one's permission right here. This needs to make a request and this one needs to grant it permission to access whatever it wants to access. Typically, this is what happens. Let's say we have a website right here and another website right here. But let's say these are S3 buckets. Okay, these are S3 buckets. And these S3 buckets on AWS, they have HTML content. Now, what happens normally is this one sends a request, and this request goes to the browser. Here, the browser receives the request and channels the request to this domain right here. This domain receives the request. The browser says to it, oh, this S3 one needs to retrieve documents or resources from the S32 domain. And the S32 domain, what it says is, it now sends a response here in form of an access control, which grants this website permission to retrieve that document or resource. So what happens is it sends that sort of signal back to the web browser, and this transmits that signal back to this website here. And by virtue of that, this website or domain is able to access content from this domain. So that is simply what happens in the case of the CORS. So simply put, CORS explains the interaction between one domain and another domain with the intent of sharing resources. So that is what happens between domains when they interact to share resources. In this illustration, I know I've used the term domain. So let me explain. Let's take this example. This is a domain right here. In this domain name, it has certain components. It has what is called a protocol, and that is the protocol component right here. And the next component here is the host name, and this is the host name. Let's call this the protocol, and this is the host name. And this is what we refer to as the port number or the ports. Typically, I know most people don't really see the port number or they don't write the port number, but this is the full representation of a domain name. So, CORS or cross-origin sharing comes into play when the domain differs either by the protocol, the host name, or the port. When any of these apply, what happens is there will be CORS involved. CORS explains the process of sharing between the different domains. So just to be clear, CORS is not a process. CORS simply explains the process of sharing. It explains a process. That's what it's all about. And although I'm talking about this in the context of AWS, CORS applies beyond AWS. Whenever you have two domains or two or more domains that are sharing resources, then CORS comes into play because the interaction will be based on the CORS protocol or process. Said, we are left with one question. What enforces CORS? The factor that enforces CORS is known as the browser, which is what stands between both websites. This is what receives the signal from this and transmits to this one, and receives the access control from this, transmits to this one. So the browser is what enforces CORS. So CORS is not limited to AWS or Amazon. So if you're watching this, this is simply a theoretical way to represent CORS. But in this channel, I will also show you hands-on how CORS works, hands-on in AWS using S3 buckets. So in a nutshell, that is CORS. And thank you for watching this video. Hope it was helpful. Please leave a like, subscribe, and bye for now.